All right, so here we are today. I'm out on another hike today. It's April, it's Easter today actually. So my plan was to come up here and do a hike at higher elevations today, get out in the snow. But the way is blocked, so I'm currently parked in the middle of the road here, my car, and I'm going to attempt to turn around because I don't want to go any further than that. I have a cross track. My clearance is what's holding me back right now. I have good traction, decent tires. They're a little bit old, so I don't have the best traction, I guess. I have good traction control, but I'm gonna attempt to turn around and then head back downhill somewhere and do some off-trail exploring probably. We'll see where we end up. So here I am. I'm giving up. I'm turning around. Middle of this little icy road because there's not really a better spot to turn around. We'll get a better view of it here in a second. I'm doing like an Austin Powers turn around here because there's a steep ditch on both sides of the road, so can't get either tires, front or back, in the ditch, and I'm doing it all on ice, so it's fun. All right, so now I'm officially turned around. So we're at I think just a little bit over 3,000 feet right now. So April, I was headed up to Indian Heavens, the Thomas Lake Trailhead specifically, and took a new direction. I kind of scouted ahead, put my seatbelt on so it was dinging at me. I scouted ahead there where I turned around, and it got really steep and even more icy. I still have like 1,000 feet to gain before I get to the trailhead. So instead of getting stuck and then turning around, I just turned around before I got stuck. Okay, so I'll fill you in on what's going on. So I just saw those turkeys on the side of the road. That was fun. I think that's the first time I've seen turkeys like that on the side of the road. Came around the corner and it was like a hen and what are the male turkeys called? They're not called roosters, I don't think. Bucks? Anyway, two male turkeys are all fanned out, trying to impress their lady. So yeah, that was cool. Anyway, that just happened right up the road from. So the plan was today to go up to Indian Heavens and kind of scout out, do some snow hiking. I brought my snowshoes just in case, kind of thing. But turns out the snow was like 1,000 feet lower than. Couldn't get to the trailhead. So instead of pushing it and getting stuck and having a miserable time with that, I turned around, came downhill, and I came to one of my favorite parts of the PCT. I'm just coming down here and hike through these trees for a little bit. coming down to Panther Creek. So it's only a couple mile little walk down in the woods. Pick up some trash. Yeah, so we'll do a little quick walk through these trees and hear the frogs and birds. Not a lot of people out here yet this time of year. So yeah, as I was going down that typical getting bummed out path where you kind of, my plans aren't coming together, I'm gonna have to scrap this whole day kind of attitude. I was just reminded of, I've been working on this thing in my head lately about perspective. And if you're inclined to listen, I can tell you about what my thoughts are lately. There's a story in the Bible. It's either in Numbers or actually in Joshua, but it's the story of the 12 spies that go into the land of Canaan. I'll try to get the whole story here. So it is basically the Israelites are coming out of slavery, and God has promised them the land of Canaan to be theirs. So Moses, their leader, takes all the Israelites to the edge of the land of Canaan, and he gets 12 spies / scouts, maybe emissaries, basically 12 guys. They're all the leaders of the tribes of Israel. He sends them probably like basically equivalent of like generals maybe. And they all are sent out to report back in a given period of time. And they so all the 12 scouts to go out and check out the land of Canaan, and they discover, well, the thing is, 10 of the 12 spies report back and they say, there are giants living here. Like, there's things beyond our control. Woe is me. Oh, check this out. I thought the water would be higher. It's about the same height in summertime, but it's a pretty little view here. Yeah, I'll have to do some more little hikes today. Maybe I'll go up this hill a little bit first before I go back. So anyway, these 10 of the guys say, like, woe is me. There's no way we can take the land of Canaan for ourselves because there are people living here that are 10 feet tall and they're too strong. There's too many of them. Can't do it. And two of the guys come back, two of these scouts, they come back and they say, this is probably the most fertile land in the region. This is epic. I'm excited. Look at all these grapes I brought back. So many grapes. It tells a story about a bunch of grapes so big that it takes 2 men to carry one bunch of just giant grapes. So, from that part of the story, I conclude that there are at least, well, there's 12 of them, right? So I'm guessing that they got a pretty a similar experience. Very similar experience for all 12 of them. And Joshua and Caleb, basically the heroes of the story. Gotta fix the camera here. The two that reported back optimistically, they experienced the same experience as the other 10. But instead of saying, like, oh, I don't know, we're going to have to fight the giants to get to these grapes, they had faith, and they had optimistic perspective that they didn't even need to say, oh, right, there are giants. They weren't dwelling on the giants. It's like, oh yeah, but God promised us the land of Canaan. So, of course, let's go move into our land of bounty. The story goes on where basically God requires the Israelites to mature before they move into the land of Canaan. Instead of I always thought it was more of a punishment because they were so doubting and they had so many problems coming out of slavery, and they kind of pushed all of God's buttons, and God kind of like was going to smite them, and Moses stood in as emissary. But that didn't happen. God didn't smite all the Israelites, even though probably could be justified in it. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. I don't need to go uphill anymore. Beautiful out here today. So yeah, this matter of perspective that Caleb and Joshua had, where they were focused on God's promises. They weren't absorbed by doubt and all the, like they I don't think they were in denial that there were going to be battles. There were going to be some there's going to be some trials ahead of them, but they were just saying, this is ours, let's go. So that positive perspective, they didn't really make room for the negativity, the pessimism, yeah. So, whether you're a Bible believer or not, it's a pretty good story on perspective and how you make the choice. At most levels, really, you can experience things from in a negative light, or you can throw that away. The positivity, you're basically throwing the positivity away when you choose to just focus on the negative perspective, because you can't have both. I see a lot of people that want, and I'm guilty of this, and I'm sorry for the people in my past that I've done this to, but like I feel the weight of something either politically or socially or whatever it is personally, something that I feel is unfair or it scares me, I guess, and I want other people to feel that same way. So I have spent a lot of my energy on trying to basically tell the story in a way that people will sympathize with me. And when unbeknownst to me, I guess, that when you do that and you're looking for sympathy and people to, I guess, solidarity in your plight or whatever you're at, your problems are, kind of, it's really, really easy to lose sight of what the goal is. And trying to enjoy yourself, which I guess is the other part of the channel, is getting outside and enjoying yourself. It's really hard to do that when you're focusing so hard on being negative. So there's also this guy, I think the way you pronounce his name is he's a Greek Stoic philosopher. I think this trail goes down to the campground. Might as well. It's only a little ways down here. This guy, he's a Greek philosopher, and he spent his life in slavery, and he was basically released to do his own thing, and he became a philosophical dude, philosophizer. His name was what was it? It's like Epictetus or something like that. Epictetus. But his basic thing was like, why be upset with things that you can't control? Because there's basically, from day to day, especially now with media the way it is, you can be perpetually upset for the rest of your life if you want. There's enough material for you to get nice high blood pressure and just be pissed off at the world the rest of your life, and just close yourself in your basement and lock the door and scream at everybody else that makes any noise. You can just do that. But it doesn't sound like much fun. I'd rather default, even if it's wrong of me to, even if I'm in the wrong, I would rather default towards enjoying myself and thinking positive things, which is also goes back to, is it Philippians? I forget which one it was. The one about think on these things, all the good things in the world. Yeah, it resonates with me to do so. It's a good thing to do. Yeah, so enjoying yourself being like the key to that, I guess, that conversation. Might as well. So because this has been kind of in my thought patterns lately, there's a lot of negative stuff happening around I could really get hung up on, but I'm basically choosing not to. By the way, I just hiked from the Panther Creek Bridge. Behind me is the Panther Creek campground on the Pacific Crest Trail. Now we're heading back to the Pacific Crest Trail, and we're gonna go back to the road where I parked. Probably gonna be less than a mile total of this out and back real quick. Yeah, so this has been on my mind for a while, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, that's the goal, but how do I get to that? Because I've already basically built into my brain these thought patterns, which are basically physically manifest in they're programmed into your hardware. Oh, this is the way you're going to think. You're going to automatically think a certain pathway, your synaptic pathways in your brain. But your brain basically can change. You can build other options in there by basically acting out the alternative, whatever the alternative is. So people with addiction do this with, like, when they're stopping smoking, they use like lollipops, or they do other things that kind of reprograms their brain to not really like break the habit of the cigarette and kind of do the mouth fixation thing. Same with like drinking. There are ways around this for drinking where you remove yourself from those environments. But it's basically like a ceremony. You do something, you physically manifest the thing that you want to happen. You have to make those steps yourself. Nobody can make you be positive. You have to choose positivity. So I actually was talking to a counselor for a while, and I think I got all the tools I needed for that session. So I'm kind of taking it upon myself to follow up for as long as I can stay on track. I'm just going to go without a counselor and kind of make steps forward. Realize when my thought patterns become negative. Kind of like set like almost like it's like warning bells go off. It's like, oh, that is the thing that I need to stop thinking about, because it only inflames, makes my blood pressure go up, makes me get worried, makes me emotionally unstable, those kind of things. So one of the things is like a reflection on gratitude, like as often as you can, to calmly actually write it down. I was writing it down in like a paper journal for a while, but it becomes like kind of cumbersome, and it's always like not quite within reach. It's easy on your phone to write it down because you can like, oh, I love that thing. I'm really grateful for the little things. So just like on your day to day, as you're like living your life, you think about something that's like, that makes me smile. So I'm gonna write it down. I'm really gonna I'm gonna train my brain to like dwell on that positive note. Like makes me happy. I feel like that little spark inside. Oh yeah, I'm gonna dwell on that and really think about it. What is that? For me, it's a lot of different types of smells. Like right now, the springtime in this forest, the moss, you can smell moss growing and the green. There's a name for it. Viridescence, I think is the word. Now tell me if I'm wrong, but it's all the VOCs and the stuff coming out of the ground. You can smell all the life coming out of the ground. It makes me happy. I like smelling that. And just like thinking about like what that means for the next like 5 months means outside, good weather. Oh, there's some frogs. So usually like, especially when you're in a funky mood and you're like depressed, like overwhelmed, and you just hate life in general, like the best you can manage is just going back to sleep. In those moments, you just basically suck it up and you force yourself to come up with things you're grateful for. Just little things. It might be the smallest of little things. You might enjoy how your socks make your feet warm, or the fact that you have socks is nice. The fact that you have a bed and a blanket, like that is something to be appreciative for. There are people that are in worse situations than you. It doesn't mean that whatever you're going through isn't hard, but that's not the focus. We're not in I'm going to quote a friend from actually in 2017, so 9 years ago. Crazy. Hiking with a guy named Valley Girl. He did a lot of like valley talk, even though like he lives in Antarctica, I believe. Anyway, we were hiking along one time, and our like trail family, like 4 or 5 of us, were sitting eating lunch together, and we were all eating just horrible food, trying to lighten the load, blah blah blah. Anyway, he pulls up and he has like a dehydrated spaghetti dinner that he's like rehydrating and heating up, and it was lasagna. It was lasagna, cheese and everything. And we're like, oh, Valley, you're killing us. He's like, dude, this is not a sufferfest. Nobody wins if we're all, like, why would we? So I've thought about that. I probably gleaned a lot more than he intended out of that statement, that this isn't a sufferfest. It's not a competition to see who can be worse off. So, like, keep that in mind. Like, trying to convince other people that of your woes, it's just a losing game. Like, focus on the good. But that's my advice. You can live your own life. I'm not preaching to anybody here. So another thing that I do, I'm gonna stop here before I get my car in the shot. I don't want to have to try to blur my license plate and all that. Another thing I do is taking note of opportunities of abundance, things that are in excess, whether it's time or whatever, anything that's in abundance. I have a full belly. I'm appreciative of that abundance. Dwelling on those moments, and like those moments where it's just you're overwhelmed with, if you have a group of friends that you love, and just fully try to sponge it all in and dwell on those moments where you're with your loved ones. I'm gonna cut your car coming here. So anyway, obviously in the car now. It's not a sufferfest. Focus on the good things. So we have gratitude, things you're grateful for. Nothing is too small. The other day I put on my list the sun was coming through the window at just the right angle, and there was a little fuzzy thing floating through the air in that little stream of light. And it just, I don't know, I like those little moments where things are very still and it seems like artistic. So I wrote that down. I took the time to actually dwell on like that feeling. It's weird how it's intuitive for some people to dwell on negativity, to be able to reflect on pretty much anything and say, you know what I hate about that? Like, I don't really care to hear what you hate about that. Anyway, and other people, I think it has to do maybe with the way you're raised, or just maybe age or environment you're raised. I'm not sure where that comes from, or maybe it's genetic. Maybe it's just socially accepted, and that's the way people talk, and you are used to talking that way in such a pessimistic tone. So I'm trying to remember, it was the other abundance, gratitude, and opportunity. So looking forward at opportunities today, or in the next 10 minutes, what is my opportunity to do something? Something that you're like, oh yeah, I could do that. Okay, yeah, I could just, whatever, something small. Whether it's, oh, I can go grab some fresh, clean water out of my tap water. Like, the opportunity to do that it's amazing. It's such a blessing to live in a time where we can drink clean water out of a tap water, like inside plumbing. I'm gonna go take a warm shower. Wow, that's a great opportunity. Anyway, dwelling on that stuff, I think, is at least my key. It's where I'm at right now anyway. Maybe someday it'll evolve into something else, but I believe this is a good path to follow. I don't think it's gonna steer anybody wrong to look at opportunity and be grateful in abundance. And I don't feel like that's too preachy either. It's pretty general. And I guess if you're upset by me saying these things, that yeah, you do you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you want to be negative and attack everybody, you do that. Sounds like a sad way to live. Anyway, I think I'm going to go from here. I'm obviously driving. I'm going to go from here, and I'll go down. Maybe I'll go do either Hamilton Mountain or Beacon Rock on the way home. We'll see how full the trailheads are. So over here at the driven down the hill towards a Hamilton Hamilton Mountain Trailhead. And I have started cooking one of my homemade dehydrated meals, which I'll share with you some of it, at least in this video, probably right about now. Pad Thai, what I'm calling Pad Thai. Again, the rice noodles, I overcooked these first off, so they were kind of sludgy when I put them in the dehydrator. So when I rehydrate these after hiking with them, like after I crunch them into my bag and then I hike with them for miles, this is basically going to be Pad Thai slurry. It's not really going to be noodles by the time I eat it. So to not do that, you can get like a gluten-friendly shell or elbow or spiral. Those hold up a lot better than pasta noodles. But then also on your spirals, some of those will actually poke through the bags. So you either have to have a really heavy bag or like the vacuum sealed bags. Even vacuum sealed bags, sometimes the spiral noodles will poke through those bags. So it's better to go with a softer noodle and just have it be crunched than a bag that opens up and leaks all over the place. So we got rice noodles, we have chicken, we have green onion, crushed peanut, and I have the peanut butter powder. So there's no oil in it. It's like 60 calories per 16 grams. So this is a little bit light on the caloric content also. But peanut butter, chicken, a green onion, and the pasta. And then on trail I'll add, I'm going to try to find some red chili flakes with the oil in it. And then add a packet or two to this stuff and give it that spice. Oh, also I added brown sugar. I did like 10 grams of brown sugar to this. So the peanut butter and the brown sugar should be more of a Pad Thai, like the sweet and savory. And then I think that's about it. Yeah, so this is the Pad Thai mix because I figured I would get these out of the way on shorter day hikes instead of waiting for a really long hike where I'm trying to eat this after the noodles have been crushed to smithereens. And it smells absolutely wonderful. The chives and everything has rehydrated really well. I've added a little bit extra water, not intentionally, but that's all good. I think everything is, so this has chicken, if I remember right. I haven't reviewed my videos for a while, but this has chicken, peanut butter, a little bit of sugar in it for the sweetened aspect. Super fast. It rehydrated really fast. So it's obviously soup because I've added some extra water here, but so I can get this on camera. Yeah, so we got, there we go. It's basically Thai noodle soup. Back up a little bit here. Ouch, burned my hand. Second burn this week. I'm gonna give the chicken a little bit more time. The chicken's still a little bit crispy. Anyway, on the way here, I was thinking about the idea of the optimism and the pessimism thing as I was driving down the mountain. And I thought it was, I used AI to kind of reference it, but I thought it was either Russian or like a Cherokee parable. But the story about the two wolves that are fighting, you have a white wolf and a black wolf that are fighting in your mind. One represents jealousy and anger and bitterness, and the other one is joy and happiness and all the good things. So good versus bad. And so basically what I could gather on my drive here was that the story comes from like the late 1900s, so 150 years ago-ish, something like that. It's not Russian or Cherokee, but the story was told as if it were a Cherokee grandfather talking to his grandson about the two wolves that live in your mind. And the grandson asks, well, because the story is like they're fighting. The white wolf and the black wolf are fighting. And the boy asks his grandfather, well, which one wins? Which one wins the fight? And the grandfather responds with, whichever one you feed. You have to feed, you choose which one you want to feed. So the way I take that is dwelling on or not being able to get past certain like bitterness or jealousy or anger or things that you don't feel justified or fair. It's a sinkhole you can't really recover from. You have to dwell on the positive things. Anywho, this pad thai has thickened up quite a bit. It's looking a lot better now, actually, now that it's cooled off a little. Maybe that chicken has absorbed more of that fluid. What's nice about this, using it on a day trip, is I can still modify those others if I find this bland or something. Oh, that's true. I was gonna add some chili crisp to this, but I'll imagine it. I don't have any spiciness. I'll come back when people stop looking at me. So yeah, I don't think anybody's looking at me now. Had my first few bites of this, a little bit bland. I think that if I added like a good little pinch of some flavorful salt and some chili flakes. Chili flakes I think would do well. Yeah, chili flakes. Yeah, it thickened up quite a bit. I'll come back around here. Actually looks like noodles. But this compared to like trying to buy it, is it worth it? I don't know. Probably. Especially for people with food allergies, to make your own. I think that food dehydrator was probably like, what was it? Like $200 or something like that. Probably around $200 for the dehydrator. That's only these days with Mountain House prices and all those dehydrated food meals being like $13 a piece. It's only like 10 meals worth. It's really hot. Delicious though. It is good. The flavors that are there are delicious. The flavors are just pretty mild. And between the peanut butter and chicken, it's pretty high protein. Low sodium. It's good. Pretty low saturated fat. The sugar content is just perfect. Right balance for the sugar. I think I added brown sugar, like a tablespoon or something in there, if I remember right. But anyway, I'll do the rest of this eating in fast motion, so we'll go on to hiking some more. My full belly. I think I'm taking up this area too much. There's a lot of people over here having a picnic. This is a nice little, I've had a couple lunches in here before on really rainy days. It's a nice nice little spot. It's the Hamilton Mountain Trailhead. Just outside the parking lot, there's this little kitchen area to get out of the rain, and it's got 1 or 2 walls that are windbreak. But this is a pretty cool picnic table outside here. I'll sit here instead. Yeah, it's pretty close to pad thai. It's not pad thai, but obviously restaurant quality or homemade authentic would be better than this, but for being accommodating my allergies and diet, self-prescribed diet restrictions at this point, it's pretty good. It's really windy out. Just looking overhead to see if there's any windfalls or anything that's going to easily fall off. Looks pretty good. So this is my, I don't know if I've gone over my cooking stove. So my gas can itself, these are the bigger size gas cans. This fits inside of my titanium cook pot, which I really like it. It's a little bit smaller than you need to like cook for multiple people, or you have to boil multiple times to do, like if you're really hungry, you're gonna need to do something twice. But like a ramen packet, you can kind of put it in there at an angle. You can fit your Idaho potato packet in there if you want to get it really hot and not inside a plastic bag. But for the most part, you can get everything you need to have a meal in it into that pot. But what I noticed was, because of these, like right now I have a table that I'm sitting on, but these gas cans, which I forgot I 3D printed some new legs for that. Anyway, maybe on the next video. So this always gets like either condensation on the bottom or some kind of wet mud, because a lot of the times I'm just putting this right on the dirt. So I have the legs that'll keep this a little bit more protected now. 3D printed at home, not being used. So to keep the inside of my pot from getting that mess and rust on it, I cut out a piece of Tyvek that goes around the gas can. So this, you can see the circle of rust on the outside of this thing right here. So every once in a while I just get a new piece of Tyvek and I put that inside the pot. And I also noticed that like having like a little wash rag, which this also has rust on it because whatever, it just gets rusty. But I use this as a hot pad to like hold on to this thing when it comes on and off the stove. I don't use it to really get wet and clean things up at all. But I can put it on my lap to keep a little of that heat off my lap or whatever. It comes in handy. And I guess I could use it to, if I made a big mess, I could dump water on it and use it as a big wet rag. Yeah, so here's the, yeah, so that's I just saw some bubbles come off of that, so I'm gonna turn it off. This is the lid that comes with the pot. The Titan titanium, really MSR. It's a nice one. It has this nice little rubber coated lid to like lift up and not burn your fingers. But I took a little, this used to be those sun shades for a car. It was like an old one that we were throwing away. I just cut out a circle and that fits on there. So it just kind of sits on top. So a lot of the time you don't want to conserve fuel. You'll put your lid on when you're cooking and it really helps. Keeps everything insulated while you're cooking. And also you could keep something hot, get the water like boiling hot, dump your dehydrated food in, turn off the flames, and you can basically just use the heat that you've already acquired. This is a little cozy that I sewed out of, I just put the lid inside of there. Now the lid's in there, the little rubber handle. So now you can, like if, let's say I wanted to just rehydrate some noodles, this is hot chocolate, but just for example, I'd put this aside. Now I could just conserve all the heat. I can conserve all that heat that I just put into the noodles, into the water. Instead of running my gas the whole time, I can just conserve the heat that I already have. And it works really well. And you can get a lot more meals out of 1 can of gas that way. But since I'm not conserving heat, this little cozy, hot enough. Oh, good thing I have a little rag to hold onto the bottom. All right. So here we go. I'll show you my put away procedures here. So my pot is clean enough for now. Clean enough. It's got burned on, most of that is just burned on stuff in there. I got the gas can. I usually give it like a wipe, kind of dust it off a little bit. And this time it doesn't have like the mud kind of caked around the brim. But usually about the time these are empty, you get like, this one's got maybe a couple meals left in it, but that little rim gets kind of corroded and rusty. I don't go through these super fast, so by the time I do, they've been sitting around for a couple years. Because a lot of the times if I'm going on a long hike, I grab a new one. And this is like my day hiker. I guess for a day hiker, I could take a smaller one, but whatever. This is what I do. Yeah, so that rust, I want to keep that rust off my pot. So typically put my rag like that. And then I put my Tyvek paper over that. And then that fits right inside there. Sometimes I put my lighter just inside this little plastic container with my stove. So I have a little the little Bic minis. I shove it in and it kind of holds it. It's in there tight enough to where I can just push down on it. Because you don't want, if this red button gets pressed when it's packed, you'll run out of gas and it's no good. So you got to, whenever you're packing these, you got to keep that red button from being pressed. So inside my stove container here, it holds it tight enough where the lighter isn't being pressed. But I can also put this lighter right in here on the top of this gas can with the rag over the top of it. Keeps it from rattling around, keeps it from getting the button pushed. Sometimes if it's a really wet hike, I do both. Just in case one gets wet, I have a fire source that's gonna spark. So my stove's in there, and I put the lid on over that. So stove, cook pot, gas, hot pad, Tyvek, and then my spoon, my inappropriately long-handled spoon. People have called me out on this, why I don't use like a regular size spoon, because this is like, it's like that long, whatever that is, 10 inches, maybe it's a foot, I'm not sure, 10 inches at least. But like when you're eating out of a baggie or like a mountain house, it's nice to not have to like put your hand down inside your dirty baggie and then try to scoop. With this spoon, you can do that and like reach way down inside something and grab it. I really enjoy doing that. And you keep your hands clean while you're eating. And most of the time it's keeping your food clean from your hands when you're hiking, because you don't want your dirty hands. Okay, so this has been around for a while. This is my Ursack. It's my food carrying bag. Excuse me. All right, so this is a food carrying bag. On a really long hike, I'll refer to this as my food baby, because it'll be topped off, and it will be this much food of just packed in there as tight as it'll get, and it'll be like 10 pounds or more of food in there. But this is Kevlar. So the advertisements, it's been around for a while, so it's got stains and stuff, but the advertisements for this thing has a grizzly bear doing its best to rip into this, and they have this tied to a tree. and this grizzly bear will be like just munching on this and just like pulling, but they can't get in. Obviously I don't have grizzly bears, and if I knew their bears were going to be that big of a problem, I probably wouldn't do that hike. But this also works for mice and like squirrels. It's really handy when you're in like a rodent infested area. You can suck this thing really tight. You suck that really tight, and then you hang it up off the ground. It's pretty tight closed. That's not that tight right now. I think it works better when it's full, but this tightens up pretty good. I can still see in there right now. But you can take like a piece of garbage. There's always garbage around, like some sort of water bottle. Cut the top off of this, and then thread it. I don't want to do that with my water bottle right now because it's my water bottle today. But you cut off the top, and then you thread this rope through the top so that you have basically a plastic cone over the top section of this part of the bag. So if the mice are able to climb up whatever, then climb down the stream, they get to that plastic cap. A lot of the times they'll actually fall off because they can't get traction on the cap itself. Anyway, I actually have a friend, shout out to TP, Trash Panda. She was on the Canadian Trail. It's a Great Divide Trail, I think. I don't know the name of it. I don't know the Canadian trails up there, but it was a really pretty epic hike for her. But she had a bear chew on her ursack, and she's like, yeah, it didn't get the food, but the food inside was mush and covered in bear drool because it's not waterproof. So she was able to recover her food for the rest of that section, but it smelled like bear drool. I don't know what that smells like, or I haven't experienced that myself, and I wasn't there for that hike, but it's a cool story. But it's a really nice, it's a little bit heavy for what it is, but it's peace of mind of knowing that your food is safe from rodents digging through. I've had lots of issues with mice while trying to sleep, digging through your stuff, or in Yosemite, I actually lost my lunch to a pair of squirrels that were they actually burrowed through the side of my backpack, through the outside of my backpack, and it was like they beelined it straight for the food. Like they knew, it's like they had x-ray vision or something. They performed surgery on my backpack, went straight for all my lunch. That was a 20-something mile hike. I went up to Half Dome, and the squirrels ate my lunch. Okay, so yeah, so I just, because it's all food stuff, I just put it all in one bag. I'll go fill up my water bottle and then hit the trail.
There's some numbers. Oh, I'm burping up my lunch. Not up, but I'm burping. It's good flavor though. Anyway, there's numbers right there if you want to see them. I had to hike up because of that landslide I was talking about earlier. I had to hike up the road from the main parking lot. Ow, some kind of fly. That hurt. Yeah. So here I go. Haven't done this trail before. This approach trail, whatever it was. I didn't look at the numbers. It's like a half a mile or whatever it was to the main trail. I'll have to look at the video to see. Yeah, so here we are. Just went up there. There's a whole bunch of people at the pool of the something or other up there. There's another sign over here. Yeah, I'll show you. It's a nice, beautiful day today. Yeah, so it's Pool of the Winds. You can kind of look up that little gully over there.
Kind of look up that gully. People out there, but the waterfall kind of falls into that little slot canyon. Continue down, and down this cascade. Cascade straight up into the canyon there. Just keep going. Got the water all the way down here. Got a few flights of stairs to do.
Yeah, it's about a mile and a half to get to the Pool of the Winds. It's uphill the whole way, but nice trail. You have to start at the Beacon Rock campground, north end, to start at the trail because there's a landslide at the regular
trailhead. It's a pretty cool looking trail. It's a cool view here too. I kind of see it a lot better from here. Another bridge. It's a beautiful day for hiking today, that's for sure. Lots of people out though, that's for sure also. I think this is where I want to turn around. So I passed, there's a Hardy Creek Falls. And my my attempt today is going to be to hike. Oh yeah, so those power lines right there are actually, the trail goes underneath that power line ridge right there. But behind that is Beacon Rock. So so that last couple of humps there is Beacon Rock, which is separate from this area here. There's actually a road and stuff that goes between those two. That the rock actually sits out in the river somewhat. But yeah, I'll go up there today as well. There's the Columbia River. Looking good today. Pine trees are in full, you can fully smell them in the sun today. They're releasing all that pitch. All the birds are singing. Beautiful day today. So yeah, I'll cut back down this trail, go back down, and then it's hard to film like long segments of unbroken just quietness. Lots of kids, lots of dogs, people having fun out here today. You don't really want to invade their privacy and put them on camera too much. So I'll just get a few moments here, and then I'll it's probably going to be the same thing at Beacon Rock too, so I'll probably just film, maybe I'll film where I can. The parking lot as I drove by was pretty full, so I'm guessing it's probably jam-packed all the way up the trail, or at least the first half. I'll film where I can on that trail, just to show everybody what's going on over at Beacon Rock, and then we'll wrap it up with this video. It's probably plenty long at this point. So this is my first video back for the year, probably for the season. I have plans to do a whole bunch of videos this spring and spring, summer, fall. A lot of fishing videos planned, and hiking videos, of course. But yeah, this is the time if you guys have any kind of requests of either gear reviews or something that's you're not really seeing out there that you would like to see, hit me up. I definitely read all my comments at this point because I don't get that many. So hit me up with ideas you want to see me epically fail at, or you think you maybe I have insight that you could benefit from. Leave a comment on the video. If you have my personal number, just also ask me there as well. Yeah. So I noticed that, so like this video will probably get exposure, because that's how YouTube works. Is I've taken a break for a while, and what they do is kind of like your first video back. They kind of show everybody like, hey, this guy's making videos again. So he'll show everybody my videos. It's cool. Drop off right here. Yeah, so everybody will see this video, and then my next video I'll put out. Not so many people will see it. They don't push it as hard on the algorithm. So if you like and subscribe on this one, my next video will be automatically will come your direction. Especially if you start following me, that would really help out. I'm still shooting for that original. I'm trying to get 1,000 followers. At 1,000 followers, I can actually start getting income from this channel. But until then, this is no dinero. So yeah, send the link for the video to whoever you think might like this video, and then get them as many people to follow as possible. It's always easy to subscribe and then just not watch also. That'd help me out. You can watch, it's fun to watch, hopefully. I guess if you didn't like the video, you probably wouldn't get to this point anyways. So yeah, I'll film where I can if there's any kind of vistas on the way back down this trail that I missed the first time up. And then I'll film a little bit over at Beacon Rock, and we'll call it quits for the day.